the time. She got a booty like a Cadillac. Oh, I could send her in an overdrive.
Hello and welcome to The Jam here on DZRJ Radio, the voice of the Philippines, coming to you live here on May 14th, Mother's Day. So I hope everyone out there had a happy Mother's Day, that you were able to take your mother to the beach or brought her some flowers or took her out for a nice chicken dinner. Something just to say thanks for being my mom. Now, I know I have to make that call later tonight and see how my mom is doing. She's 86 years old. Every year I see her around Christmas time and she's a little smaller and a little slower, but she still makes me laugh. I remember her sending me a birthday card. It was actually just an empty envelope, but I'll never forget what she wrote on the outside of the envelope. Happy birthday. Sorry I lost the birthday card, but I thought I would send the envelope anyway. Hope you like it. Love, Mom. Yes, my mom is something special, and I'm sure yours is too. So happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, and hope you had a very special day. So let's get to the news. Here on The Jam, we look at news that's going on around the world, things that maybe you heard about, but didn't get a chance to sit down and really concentrate on. Maybe you read about them on the web. So we're here to kind of explain them and analyze them and talk about them here for the next hour. And the first big story this week, well, if you've been watching the newspapers, it's been on the front page just about every day. Donald Trump is hogging the world headlines once again. Words describing what happened this week are explosive and seismic, erupting, bizarre, earthquake-like, outrageous, and plain wrong. So he didn't drop another bomb, but he did fire the FIVB head, James Comey. And you're asking me, is this the same FBI director, James Comey, that is investigating Trump into the possible collusion with Russia? Yes. Now, of course, the president can fire the head of the FBI. He is indeed in charge of that department. However, what makes this story front page news every day is why he fired him. So first, the official reason was that it was on the recommendation of the Attorney General and the Deputy Attorney General. They said in a letter that he should be fired because of how he dealt with the Hillary Clinton email scandal, and that he shouldn't have announced that he was reopening the case just a few days before the election, which is what some say is the main reason that Donald Trump won the election. But of course, what is weird, and I mean weird with all caps and an exclamation point, is that Trump praised him at the time for making that announcement. So why now, after all this time, fire him? Because he did what many people believe is the main reason that Trump was able to win the election. Well, right after all this, the Deputy Attorney General said, now, hold on a minute. The president asked me what could be a reason to fire the FBI director. So I said, well, I don't know. I guess the handling of the Clinton email issue, that's all I can think of. So now, after being thrown under the bus, the Attorney General is thinking about resigning. But after that, then, Trump said, oh no, it wasn't the Clinton email scandal, which actually, was found that, there was nothing illegal about it. It was because he wasn't doing a good job and that everyone is unhappy with him and the Bureau has lost complete confidence in him. To which the FBI came right out and said, no, that's not true. That's not true at all. They have complete confidence in Comey and were angered at the situation in which he was told. The FBI director was in LA at the time giving a talk when the news of his firing came across the TV that was on in the same room he was giving the talk. At first, Comey laughed because he thought he was being pranked, but then realized that it was not a prank. Then there was the question about about whether he could take the FBI plane back to Washington, as he was no longer an employee of the government and that he may now have to fly a commercial carrier. So, I mean, this is just getting worse as we go. So when Comey finally returned, he got Trump's letter of his firing, which was delivered, and this is the other crazy thing, by one of Trump's bodyguards, which also seems slightly weird and strange, seeing as Trump is so well known in the past for firing people in person on his TV show. Now, this comes just a day after Comey testified in an open hearing before the Senate inquiry that the Trump Organization was being investigated into their ties with Russia, and possibly that they colluded with the Russian government to interfere with the election to go in Trump's favor. Now, meanwhile, I hope everybody's following this. Meanwhile, during all this, Trump said in an interview that he had decided to fire Comey on his own. This had nothing to do with anyone's recommendations. This came right after the vice president and all the Trump spokespeople, that Huckabee girl, Sean Spicer, Kellyanne Conway, they all said it was because of the recommendations of the Attorney General and the deputy. In fact, supposedly, the White House spokesman, Sean Spicer, hid behind a clump of bushes in order to avoid being asked questions by the media about the meaning behind the firing. During the interview, Trump finally admitted he didn't like the way Comey was handling the Russian investigation, and he didn't see him as a loyal follower. Now, in his letter to Comey, saying he was fired, Trump added the line thanking him for telling him 3 times that he was not being investigated, which Comey completely denies. But there's no easy way to check this, of course, because Trump said that it was done through phone calls and they had a dinner in which he said it. So now Trump is also saying that this dinner was requested by Comey, but he says it was Trump who invited him to the dinner, in which he asked Comey to pledge his loyalty to him. Comey said to Donald Trump that he could not do this, but he did say that he could pledge honesty. So Trump can't get his story straight with all his people, but in an interview, he kind of says he just didn't like the way Comey was handling the investigation into the Trump involvement with Russia, which he says is all completely made up and should be dropped. Meanwhile, Trump met with the Russian ambassador, the very same ambassador who is in the middle of this whole scandal, the same guy that originally met with the Attorney General and the head of the National Security, in which they both lied about it and got caught. Now, during this meeting with the U.S. press corps, with the Russian ambassador, the U.S. press corps was not allowed into the meeting at all. But for some reason, the Russian press was. And they took a lot of pictures, which the U.S. press posted everywhere and made Trump really, really angry. As in the scene in the picture, it shows him shaking hands and smiling with the Russians. And the optics of this all look very, very bad. Also, this comes topped off with the fact that Vladimir Putin seemed to be defending Trump this week when speaking to a reporter during a very strange encounter in which Putin was wearing a hockey suit. So now this couldn't get any wackier, but then in the middle of all this, Trump tweeted that Comey better not talk to the press about this, or maybe some tapes of their conversations might be released. Tapes? There's tapes? Comey then said he would be glad if there might be some tapes. Now, there's immense correlations to the presidency of Richard Nixon, who, if you remember Richard Nixon, he was impeached as president because of the tapes that he had. he had recorded all these conversations secretly in the White House. And also there was enough that he did that he fired his special prosecutor that was investigating him. So right away, the Nixon Library people, actually kind of funny, they tweeted the other day, fun fact, Nixon never fired his FBI director. So they do not want to be compared to Trump. Now, what is still so amazing about this story is that Trump claimed the reason for firing Comey was that he didn't like the way he handled the Clinton email scandal. Now, Comey stated in the Senate hearing that it made him nauseous every time he thinks that he may have changed the outcome of the election, which makes Trump angry to no end. Now, during the campaign, Trump said a number of times that Comey did the right thing by reinvestigating the Clinton emails, that he had the courage to do the right of this horrible wrong, that Comey had the guts to make the move on Hillary Clinton in the face of so much opposition. What he did was the right thing. And in his rallies, he kept saying about Hillary Clinton that she should be locked up. He kept saying, lock her up, lock her up. So what's incredible now, and a bit of a shock, is that Trump thinks that anyone is going to believe this reason. A reporter described it as Trump peeing on our leg and trying to make us believe it's raining outside. So anyway, it's been speculated that Trump has really just been furious about the amount of attention that Comey has been getting by the media and that he was stealing the spotlight from him. He called Comey a showboater and said he just keeps wanting to get in front of the camera. Insiders have said Trump hates this when people are getting more camera time than he is, especially at his expense. So yesterday, Trump stated that everybody is convinced that there is no collusion with his campaign and Russia. He also said that maybe he's going to do away with any more White House briefings, that he will likely be the only one to address the press from now on. There's also the question of who will be the next FBI director, and that Trump will try and get somebody that he is sure is going to drop this Russian investigation. There are rumors that Rudy Giuliani might be the possible candidate, maybe even Chris Christie. These are well-known people from the Trump campaign who are believed to have loyalty to Trump that James Comey did not. Now, the biggest question, of course, is what are the Republicans going to do now? What are they going to say now? I mean, the Democrats are going to fight for the Russian investigation to continue while the president is going to do everything in his power to squash it. So the real deciding factor will be, what are the Republicans going to do? You know, if they were to turn against Trump at this point with his approval rating in the low 30s, it's possible that President Trump could be maybe getting a letter very soon of his own. And I can just think of two words that it might say, and it rhymes with "you're hired." This is Eric Cocaine on The Jam. We're talking about things going on around the world, what has been coming up, what's headline news.